Everybody, this is Hondo Carpenter, your Sports Illustrated Las Vegas Raiders beat writer and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider podcast. I am here inside the Raiders facility. It is 12:10 in the morning on the East Coast, 9:10 here on the West Coast. The Raiders just concluded practice, and we have a lot to get into today. We're going to really dig in a lot on this practice. We talked to three players: Davante Adams, Max Crosby, and Trey Tucker. All of those interviews are up. You can go read them. You can go listen to them either video wise or audio wise, wherever you get this podcast. But they're already up for you. Going to hit some highlights there. But let's get right into practice. I know that's what everybody cares about, the quarterback battle. Um, I think today was not a great day for the offense. I don't think it was as bad as Costa Mesa. It was not as good as I had hoped it was. We'll start with Aiden O'Connell. He had two interceptions. One was just a terrible pass picked off. The other, that was by Trayvon Merrick. He had another where there was a penalty, so it was basically a dead play, and they still ran it. So he heaved one up, um, kind of like when you get an offsides on the defense and it's a free play. So he heaved one up that he would not have normally thrown. But the point of the matter is he still threw it. So I'll let you decide if that's an interception that, will bother you or not. There were no interceptions by Gardner Minshew. However, he did not throw the ball great. He had some good throws, but it was not a great day throwing the football for him. I thought Aiden O'Connell threw the football better, but interceptions are interceptions, and you got to hold. If the coaches are hammering on ball security, and they are, then when you go after Gardner for doing it, you got to go after Aiden. That's just the simplicity of it. I think you can justify one of them because it was a free play, but you can't the throw that that Trayvon Merrick made. Just can't do it. So there you go. We're going to get through a lot of it today. I want to talk about first thing I watched was Thayer Mumford. They were working with him today on lateral motion, moving guys, going to the second level of blocking. He looked really, really good with his lateral motion. Now, you may remember in Costa Mesa, he hurt his left hand. Today, he hurt his right, left. He did come back, but he didn't come back in practice. DJ Glaze picked up a ton of reps at right tackle, and he just continues to get better all the time. I am really super impressed with DJ Glaze. Very, very impressed with DJ Glaze. We're going to get into a lot of the different reps today. Um, I will tell you, though, Jakobi Meyers, another great day. He is by far the best offensive player on this team, and it's not close. He had a great day, and I thought DJ Turner had another great day. Other guys had catches, but the wide receivers were plagued with drops today. Plagued with drops. Other than Jakobi and DJ, everybody had drops. It just was not a good day for the wide receivers. I thought the offensive line was good. Um, again, I don't think the quarterbacks were outstanding, but I think what really hurt them today were the drops. I think they would have been. I know they would have been a lot better if there had not been the drops. So let's look at it a little bit. I thought it was interesting. Davante came on the field, and by the way, the crowd was fantastic tonight. Um, and the crowd began to just yell congratulations to him for his baby boy. And he stopped, and you could just tell it meant the world to him. And he broke his concentration to just kind of wave and thank the crowd. It was a really cool, intimate moment between Davante and the fans, one that he deserved. And I'll talk more about him later and the baby. Um, I thought it was fascinating. Davante had a drop. He was visibly upset. And you know what? He's been out of practice. So he deserves grace for that. And but Jakobi comes right back and just was Jakobi Meyers. He is a phenomenal football player. And we're going to have a lot to say about him coming up later. I thought it was very interesting today. Michael Mayer had a opportunity in the end zone. Just a beautiful. He ran a perfect route, and it was a perfect pass. And Chris Smith picks up the PI, the pass interference. But it was a brilliant route by Mayer, excuse me. Beautiful route by Mayer, and it was a PI on Chris Smith in the end zone. Again, um, Trey Tucker had a drop for a touchdown pass, had another drop, but then later in the game on a bomb, perfect pass by Aiden O'Connell, and he caught it beautifully. I want to reiterate something because when you point out certain players struggling in an area, a lot of people perceive that as you don't like or respect a player, and that's simply ridiculous. I want to make this abundantly clear. I think Trey Tucker has the ability to be an outstanding wide receiver. I think his ceiling potential is to be an all pro with his speed, his route running. Now, we found out today he's had LASIK surgery and that's helping him. And so, again, he made the catch in the game, which is where it matters, where it matters. But I was disappointed to see those drops. But the disappointment is not in him as a man. I just have such high expectations of him, incredibly high, that that's a standard I'm holding him to, and I'm not going to back down because he's that good. He's that good, and I think that he should be held to that standard because he's a very good football player. Um, I want to get into an Aiden O'Connell touchdown pass to DJ Turner. Again, this is the frustrating part: the drops, and then the interception. Again, I'm going to I would have given grace to either one of the guys on that interception. So that's my standard, but I'm telling you what happened so you can hold it up to yours. But, throwing that interception to Merrick just was brutal on Aiden today. He had just a touch pass, but it was a long pass, but it needed it needed some zing, but it needed a little bit of touch. It was a throw that a great quarterback makes to DJ Turner and put it in a place where DJ was the only one who could catch it. And DJ did what DJ's done this camp. He made a great catch. It was a beautiful touchdown, just a beautiful touchdown pass. Um, Again, I already talked about AOC's interception to Merrig. Um, there was another play. I'm trying to think of how I want to describe this to you. Trey Tucker runs this perfect route, just perfect. Twist this guy around and he's gone. AOC put the ball right on the money, and they were way down in their offensive end, so he didn't run it to the end zone, but it would have been a touchdown. Those are the plays. The play in the Minnesota game of why I have such high standards for Trey Tucker. This guy is not, just a camp body. He's not just another wide receiver. He has an opportunity to be special. Very. I'm very impressed with him. So I just want to reiterate that. Another thing I wanted to talk about was a pass that Gardner had, a brilliant pass to Jacoby. And again, he put it in a spot, and we're seeing a lot more out of this. He put it in a spot where Jacoby had to get it, and Jacoby did. I mean, every practice of camp, everyone, Jacoby will make a play, and you're just like, wow, that guy is the guy. There's a saying that the kids now use. It's called "I'm him." Well, Jacoby, he's him. He's a stud. Um, I thought it was interesting. Um, Another route, Trey Tucker runs a perfect route. And when I say perfect, I literally mean perfect. Gardner just missed him. He was rolling and he just missed him. And that's brutal. Cannot have that. I mean, you have to roll. But remember, I talked to you about the other day about him rolling and fade. You got to put your foot in the ground and release it. And he had Trey Tucker for what would have been a good game. Again, the interception to me is brutal. So because of the interception, I'm going to call it dead even. Without the interception, I think Aiden had a better day. Um, it's just where we're at, and I think we're gonna see a lot with Dallas. I think if the season started today, Aiden O'Connell would be your starting quarterback, but it doesn't start today. There's the contest, the practice tomorrow night at Allegiant, or I guess tonight, depending on where you are when you see this. On Wednesday night, there's practice on Thursday, and then, of course, the game on Saturday. It's going to be very fascinating to watch, and we're going to find out. We're going to learn a lot. Great day by AJ Cole. Now, not as many booming punts because he was working more about punt placement. He had one that he kicked. It was gorgeous and went super, super high, goes out of bounds at the 1 yard line. I was standing right there. He's been AJ Cole. I mean, there have been Max Crosby, Jack Jones, Jacoby Myers, AJ Cole, Daniel Carlson. I think he was 11 for 11 on field goals today, which I told you this morning I was really going to watch. He's been exceptional. There are a few guys who have just been all pros. Robert Spillane had a practice today that was just intense. He moved a guy, and the guy got a beautiful PBU, pass breakup. And he just does so many things that don't show up in the record book. He's very, very special. Again, though, I think it's important to really talk about DJ Glaze. I think he just continues to make progress. I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to make a very big prediction. I believe DJ Glaze will start at least one game this year. He's earned that. If Colton were to go down, they would move Thayer to left, put him at right. If Thayer were to go down, I mean, obviously they would put him at right. But DJ Glaze, he's young now. He's a pup. He's not a dog. But man, he's coming. And I really admire his work ethic. Coach Craig tonight got on him, not on him like reprimanding, on him teaching, and he took it. And you may remember I talked to you on Tuesday morning about the importance of watching guys repeating mistakes. He doesn't do that. He just doesn't do it. And again, it goes back to what happened. I told you he was at Maryland. He goes to the Senior Bowl, where the first 2 days he was probably the worst offensive lineman there, according to multiple teams. Gets some coaching. They put him in a wide zone, which is what the Raiders run. And he was very good. And many people believed, the same teams, he was the best offensive lineman at the Senior Bowl. I see that now. I'm watching Coach Craig coach him, and I see it. Now listen, Max Crosby is the best. And so anybody, I mean, I remember watching him with Trent Williams last year. It was the only guy I ever saw where it's 50-50. Other than that, I've never seen Max go against somebody where he doesn't own them. And there was a play tonight where DJ Glaze just moved him. And it was a great play by DJ. And you could just see the coaches like, all right, he's starting to make some plays now against 9-8. That's special to see. All right, Nathan Peterman got a ton of reps today with the threes. He looked good. That's the Raiders' new quarterback. You may remember him. He's been here before. He looked certainly better than Bradley or Anthony Brown looked against Minnesota. And he looked good, and I think he is in strong competition for the third quarterback spot. They have to have somebody in that spot that they feel pretty confident at. And Anthony Brown had a really good OTAs and really good minicamp. But do you remember we told you it's about what happens when the pads are on? And since the pads have come on, he's done a couple good things, but he's really done a lot not good. So Nathan Peter comes in and gets a lot of reps. All right, I want to start by talking to you about Max Crosby. I asked him about the offense, and I said to Max, you're the captain, but you look out for the whole team. How excited were you about the player offense against Minnesota? And he said it was absolutely awesome. He was genuinely excited for his offense, which you can't blame him. And he was excited. He also talked about um, how vanilla the defense is. Obviously, the offense is vanilla, but how off vanilla the defense was. So remember, other than that first drive when they stopped Minnesota on 4th and goal, him and Christian didn't even play. And they were very vanilla on defense. Now, Minnesota was not. I'm not saying they did all their playbook because they didn't, but they were not vanilla. So that's another reason why in this building, there isn't as much panic about the defense as some Raider fans have expressed. They stayed vanilla and still held them to 7 points and no penalties on the team in the first half. Um, he uh, talked about the position of quarterback, and I thought it was interesting. And he talked about uh, that position and about the battle for that position. And he really got into it a little bit, talking about, it's about production. What are you going to do? So tonight, Aiden has the 2 interceptions. One of them I explained to you. Again, I'm just being accountable to you. You can make the decision about whether or not you think that's a brutal interception or not. But he talked about its production. So he had the touchdowns. Gardner, um, for some reason, I think he had one, but that's a guess because I don't remember any, but somewhere in the back of my head, I keep thinking there was one that I may have not written down. But still, the production was there with Aiden, but the interceptions are killer and the drops are brutal. If you are, by the way, Noah Shannon and Stone are two guys that Max has been talking a lot about. I'll get more into them later this week. Um, he also told everybody, if you have ever seen the movie 8 Mile, that Dylan Labe's new nickname is Cheddar Bob. If you've seen the movie 8 Mile, you'll appreciate that. Um, he talked about uh, Robbie Leonard. I asked him about Robbie Leonard, and he talked about how close they were and that he's really become family. And he doesn't coach everybody the same. I think that was really important to get with you. There's an old story about a guy at the Dallas Cowboys who falls asleep in the meeting, and Jimmy Johnson cut him. And he said to Jimmy Johnson, I don't understand why you're cutting me. Emmitt Smith doesn't even hide it. And he goes, because Emmitt Smith produces. And Jimmy Johnson said, I treat everybody fairly, but I don't treat everybody the same. And it was interesting to me as Max talked about the quarterback battle and production, and then gets right into Robbie Leonard, that he doesn't treat everybody the same, but he is fair with expectations. I thought it was a really good interview by Max. If you haven't listened to it or heard it, go please do that. Davante, I just started out his press conference and said, forget football. The most important thing is what's it like to hold, your son. Any of you out there that's a dad, you literally know the moment that I'm talking about. I'm sure there are moments that women can all relate to as mothers, but as a father, the first time you hold your baby, it is such a special gift from the Lord. And I remember the first time I held every single one of mine. And it was fun to listen to Devontae talk about, okay, my baby's okay, healthy, mama, because he adores his wife. She's great. Okay, now I can get my mind back to football. I thought it was just really cool the way, he understands. Gets paid a lot of money. There's a lot of expectation. He cares, but it's in order. Um, he also talked about uh, the familiarity with the Getsy offense, and that the most important thing was family. But he does have a sense of confidence. Missing that much training camp is not going to be that big a deal because he does have familiarity with the Getsy, and I agree with him. By the way, um, he also got into playing in the preseason. I thought this was interesting. He talked about he hasn't played since 16, and if it's up to him, he really doesn't want to. Why risk an injury? I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting. I know that AP has voiced wanting the starters to play. And now let me just stop right there. There's no controversy. It wasn't like he was talking against AP. He was just asked what his opinion was, and he's allowed to give that. So I'm not creating a false sense of drama, but I agree with Devontae, and I said it before. I mean, I don't want to see Max Crosby or Christian Wilkins in this game. I don't want to see Robert Spillane. I don't want to see Jack Jones. Several people I don't want to see. Devontae is one of them. Um, uh, he said, "If I'm choosing, I'm not playing." He also talked about Trey Tucker, who he said he's like his son in a brotherly way. Got LASIK eye surgery, so he feels like that'll help with his confidence and his ability to see the ball. And Trey is adjusting to what it looks like now, seeing the ball because of LASIK. He told us he was farsighted, so he's adjusting to seeing the ball. He talked a lot about Brock Bowers and just about the way he runs, the way he does thing. And he talked about he doesn't need to hear it from me, but he still said he was talking to him about singing his praises. Um, Said he was very impressed with how the offense played against Minnesota. And this is something I think you'll find fascinating. Devontae talked about there was a throw that Aiden made to Jacoby. That was a big time throw, and that really stuck out to him. And he had also had praise for um, Gardner and how Gardner performed, but that particular throw with Jacoby, you could see his eyes light up talking about it. Thinking that's the kind of pass he's going to be delivering me. He did talk about DJ Turner and how DJ Turner is just continuing to get better. And he cited his work ethic. And that was very impressive listening to Devontae, because one thing you need to know about Devontae does not offer false optimism. That's not the way Devontae rolls. So I thought that was very, very unique. Um, Tucker said about his laser eye surgery that it's definitely helped him with his depth perception. And him and Devontae are very close. And I asked him, how big of a blessing is it to be on a team where the best wide receiver in the NFL is there to help you? And he said, there are 31 other teams in this league that don't have Devontae Adams, and I'm blessed to be on the one that does. I thought that was a very interesting play. A lot of people think DJ Turner is an inside receiver. I've been trying to explain to people he's not. And when asked about it today, he said, I did 300 plays last year, 200 on the outside. So don't pigeonhole him. Don't pigeonhole Trey Tucker, excuse me. Don't pigeonhole him. He can go from the slot, he can go from the outside, he can come in motion. With that speed, you got to create ways to get him the ball in space. But I want to make it clear. Yes, he had the drops. I have to report those, but I have zero concerns about him long term. None. Um, the last thing I want to talk about uh, him was when asked about the QB battle, he talked about trusting Aiden O'Connell. And I thought that was very intuitive. He used the word trust, that I trust him and I know the team trusts him. So let me just say this. I do not believe the quarterback battle is decided. I have reason to believe it's not. But if I had to make a prediction, I'm not reporting this as of today. This could change dramatically tomorrow, could change dramatically on Thursday, or dramatically um, on Saturday against the Cowboys. But if I had to make a guess, I would tell you that I believe Aiden O'Connell is probably going to get the start. I told you that their belief was for him to Gardner to get the job, he had to beat Aiden. Our reporting on the quarterback situation has been spot on the entire offseason, 110% accurate. And I'm not doing that to pat ourselves on the back. It's just we have great sources. And so we were, told Gardner had to beat him. I think Gardner's had some really good days. I think he's had some bad days. But I think the battle. I know there are people who think Gardner's ahead, and I think they make a legitimate argument. I know there are people that think Aiden's ahead, and I think they make a very germane argument. I'm in the middle, and I'm not trying to be a politician. I think it's neck and neck. Again, without the one interception tonight, the morgue, better night for Aiden, but you can't ignore that interception. You can't. So again, I go back and say, I think it's a dead heat. And because I think it's a dead heat, it goes back to what I've been told the entire offseason. Gardner has to beat Aiden. And I don't believe he has. So we're going to have plenty more for you tomorrow night after the scrimmage. I mean, not the scrimmage, but after the practice at Allegiant Stadium. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate you. Don't forget, this has been our 21st camp update. Tomorrow night after the scrimmage, we'll have our 22nd, and look forward to having that for you and bringing you all the best information. We're pumping out about 14 pieces of content to 20 pieces of content every day. I hope you're checking it out. I hope you're enjoying all the Raiders coverage. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. Tell everybody about it. It's 100% free and nobody covers your Raiders like we do. Hope you have a great night. God bless you, everybody. Thanks for joining us.